Start.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Good afternoon. Okay.
Yeah, yes,
Uh,
Dr. Abhishek. Yes, you start. Rakshita, you start.
Good evening to all of you. I am very delighted to welcome you all on the second day of this national workshop on applied mathematics and computing. Once again, I would like to thank our HOD and Dr. Atul Rai sir for this wonderful opportunity to learn from this knowledgeable event. We are looking yesterday we learned a lot about graph coloring and from Dr. Sharmila Mary, and we are looking forward with similar curiosity to learn from this second day of workshop. Now I would like to request Dr. Atul Kumar Ray to welcome our speaker, Dr. Abhishek Rajesh Kumar Mehta, with few welcoming words. Sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Rakshita. So, first of all, namaskar, everyone, and welcome to all participants. I would like to thank Dr. Abhishek for accepting our request to give his expert talk on cloud computing, which is a very trending topic nowadays. I hope and I wish all the participants will definitely learn more from this session. So thank you so much and all the best to all the participants. Because we have already half an hour late, so all the best to you.
Yeah.
Now, Rakshita, over to you.
Yes, sir. Dr. Mehta is an assistant professor of Department of CSIT at Pavel University. He is very thorough with the field. Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
So he is very thorough with the field of cloud computing, and he will enlighten us today with his knowledge. So over to you, Dr. Abhishek, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us such an introduction. Thank you so much, sir, Dul sir, and the management team of the university and the college to give me the opportunity to give us such a brief introduction about the cloud computing. So my voice is audible to you all?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
audible,
okay.
audible.
Thank Yeah, thank you. So, uh, dear participants, without wasting too much time, we directly, yeah, so we directly coming on the topic, the cloud computing, right? So, cloud computing, that is one of the technology. The technology nowadays, it is very much useful to store our data. As you people are already know about the Google Drive, we all are using the Gmail facilities provided by the Google company. We all are using the data store company Amazon. Amazon is also having their own database to give us such a space to store our data. So this is the example of cloud computing. Cloud computing is a nothing but that is the one extra space to store our data given by the different companies such as Google, Amazon, even Microsoft Azure. These all are given such a kind of space to store our data. So that is called as the cloud computing. So here I share my screen to you all. You just let me know it is visible or not.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
It's visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So the PowerPoint presentation is visibility or if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is visible, sir.
Okay, yeah. So our topic is cloud computing and its research trends. So now Cloud computing, I have already explained that what is a cloud computing, what is the basic concept of cloud computing. Now, in the term of utility, computing, it is also one a utility. Cloud computing is also one a utility. Nowadays, the many of the developers are using the internet facilities. Even we people are also using the internet facilities. But how to store a large capacity of data? If that data is too much long, if I want to store it, but if I'm not having any space in my laptop, so what I need to do? If and no any space in my mobile phone, then what I need to do? I need to use the cloud computing. So it is the large capital outlays in the hardware to deploy their services on the human expenses to operate its hard avoiding both the over provisioning and under provisioning. There are some provision provided by the cloud computing. We are using the Play Store, Google Play Store. From that Play Store, we can easily install and we can easily download the different applications. Even in the iOS store is there. Through that store, we can easily download the applications, right? So that is also one kind of services provided by the uh, cloud computing. Just wait. So the cloud computing is referred both the apps delivered as a service over the internet and hardware and system software in data centers that provide those services. The services themselves are referred as a software as a service, that is called as a SaaS. What is the full form of SaaS? SaaS is a software as a service. What is a software as a service? Software as a service is a nothing but they are providing the software to use by the user. So for example, if I want to use the WhatsApp application, it is not there in my mobile phone, but I want to install it. For the same in my mobile phone, in the Android, what is it? It's a Play Store. In that Play Store, each and every software, it is already there. I need to install it, download it, and install it. Right? So such a kind of that is also one a cloud computing. That is also one a cloud. On that cloud, all the softwares are available. So we can easily install and we can easily download the software. And such a kind of applications, that's a kind of utility, it is called as the software as a service. Even the cloud computing is also providing the platform as a service. That is called as a PaaS. PaaS, PaaS, platform as a service. Now, what is a platform as a service? So, for example, if I want to do the coding, if I want to work on the Linux operating system, as you people already know about it, that many of the peoples are using the Microsoft Office operating system. Microsoft Office operating system. But in the one PC, it is very difficult to install the two operating system. So what I need to do, I need to use the virtual machine. Virtual machine, that is also one kind of machine, but that is a virtually. That is one a software, virtual box. In that I can install the different applications and I can use the two machines. One machine, that is the one hardware that here I'm using, my laptop. And the second one, that is a virtual machine that is provided by the one of the software. So the cloud computing that is also providing the platform as a services. On that platform, I can easily do the coding as well, easily develop the software as well. So for example, Android Studio, I can easily install the Android Studio in the virtual box, in the virtual computer. So that is a platform as a service. And it is also providing the architecture as a service, PaaS and SaaS. These three services provided by the cloud computing. Now the cloud that is also available in a pay-as-you-go model in the general public as a public cloud. Service being sold It is the utility computing. What is it? What is a public cloud? Public cloud, that means each and every one are using. It is available in a pay as you go model. And what is a private cloud? It's it refers the internal data centers of the business or other organizations not made available for the general public, right? So for example, if I'm giving you example for the public cloud, that is the Play Store. In that Play Store, I can use, right? But so for example, if I have my own uh, data center, if I want to purchase my own data center for my own business, for my own organization, right? That is a general, that is not for the general public. That is called as the private cloud. Okay. The cloud computing, that is a sum of SaaS and the utility computing. It is a sum of software as a service as well as provide the utility. Now, users and the providers of the cloud computing, how we can use the entire software. So here, this is the SaaS user. This is the user, right? If I'm using my laptop, I am the user. If you are using your mobile phone, you are the user, right? So that is the one user. That user is using which services? SaaS services. Now, this is the SaaS provider and this is the cloud provider. So for example, the Amazon is providing the cloud. They are providing the software as a service. Through that platform, I can easily use the software. And this is the user. So the top level can be recursive. In that, SaaS provider can also be a SaaS user. For example, a provider of rental maps might be a use of the Craigslist and the Google Map services, right? Obviously, the cloud, Google is the one that is also on a cloud, Google Cloud, right? So that is a cloud provider. Google is providing application. What applications Google is providing? Google Map services. Okay. And I'm using the Google Map services. That means I'm a SaaS user. I'm using the Google Map services. That is the best example of SaaS cloud computing. Now, what are the new aspects of cloud computing from the hardware point of view? Dear participants, cloud computing, that is not only used for the software as well. That is also used for the hardware. The illusions of infinite computing resources available on demand, thereby eliminating the need of cloud computing users to plan for ahead for provisioning. There are also infiniting the different resources that is also providing by the cloud computing. Even the upfront commitment by the cloud users, thereby allowing companies to start small, increase resources only when there is an increase in their needs. So eliminations of an upfront commitment by the cloud users. That companies to start small and increase the resources only when there is an increase their needs. So for example, I am increasing my needs. I want some softwares. For that software, the upfront commitments are that is done by the cloud user. The ability to pay for use of computing resources on a short-term basis of needs, right? So if I want some resources, I need to pay some amount and I can use it, but in the short time period. So all these three important technical economic changes made the possible by the cloud computing. Intel computing services in 2000 and 2001 required the negotiating a contract and long-term use then per hour. See, dear participants, the Intel computing is providing in the year 2020, in the year 2000 and 2001, they was providing the cloud computing. They're providing the cloud to store the data in the contract basis, 11-month contract or the 5 years contract, right? Even they are also believing in the long term, but the price that is based on the per hour. So for example, here I'm using the cloud for 2 hours. So they are calculating my charge based on the 2 hours. Key enablers of cloud computing. The constructions and the operations of extremely large scale commodity computer data centers at low-cost locations was the key necessary enabler of cloud computing. These factors combined with the statistical multiplexing to increase utilizations compared to private cloud and offer services below the cost of a medium-sized data centers yet still make a good profit. Many of the cloud computing providers are having extremely large scales of operations, and they are having also a data center at lowest cost location, but the necessary is enabler the cloud computing. We need to provide the cloud computing to the users. But there are some 5 to 7 factors. That factors are in cost of electricity, network bandwidth, operation, software, hardware. This very large economic of scale. Many of the companies are not using the cloud computing because of the cost. Because there are 5 7 factors are there. The 5 7 factors are increasing the cost of cloud computing, but decreasing the use of cloud computing. What are the costs? The cost is included with the electricity, network bandwidth. If I want to use the cloud, then I want the network. Without that network, I cannot use the cloud computing. Even the operations, even the software, even the hardware availability, right? So that is the key enablers of cloud computing. Now, what are the abstractions levels of the utility of computing? Any applications needs a model for a computations, model of a storage, models of a communication. So this statistical multiplexing necessary to achieve the elasticity. Now, what is the elasticity? Elasticity, that means what? The elasticity, that means if I want to increase my infrastructure, so I'm able to increase my infrastructure. That is the elasticity. Elasticity, that means I need to stretch my infrastructure in the context of cloud computing. So that is called as what? That is called as elasticity. So the elasticity and the illusion of infinite capacity require each of these resources to be virtualized to hide the implementations of how they are multiplexed and shared. The utility computing is also offerings will be distinguished based on the level of abstractions and presented to a programmer's level of management of the resources. The Amazon EC2, that is a one platform. That platform is providing the cloud computing. It is one end of the spectrum. The instance look much like a physical hardware, and user can control nearly entire software stacks. The Amazon, they are offering the automatic scalability and the failovers. Even their applications and the state management issues, that is highly applications dependent, right? So that is also one research component in the cloud computing, replications of the data. If I have the large database on the cloud, there are many replicated data. So nowadays the researchers are doing the research on how to find the automatic replications of the data. The Google is doing, dear participants, the Google is doing nowadays. So for example, I have the two same photos in my Google photo, in my mobile phone. So they are asking me, this is the duplicate, these all are the duplicate photos. If you want to delete, then you can delete because there is one copy is there in your drive, right? So that is the replicate. Many of the researchers are doing the research on this. Their applications of the data. The cloud is automatically find their applications of the data in the database. That is also called as a state management issue. It is there in the cloud. At another extreme is a spectrum application domain specific platforms such as the Google App Engine. That the Google App Engine is targeted exclusively on the traditional web application. What is a web application? Web application, that means if I want to develop the applications, right? That is called as a web application. There are many platforms are there to develop the web application, such as the in the PHP I can develop, in the .NET I can develop, even in the Python I can develop, even using the PHP with the framework Laravel, even the Joomla, WordPress. These all are the web application development platform. Through that platform, I can develop any of the websites, even the web application. So such a kind of structure and such a kind of traditional web-based application that is also provided by the app engine kind of cloud. The applications of Microsoft Azure are written using the .NET libraries and compiled with the common language runtime. The CLR that is the one component of the language that compile the .NET libraries and the .NET codes. So such a kind of Azure intermediate between the applications framework like App Engine and the hardware virtual machines like EC2. Such a kind of machines and such a kind of softwares are very much used in the cloud computing to do the research as well. These all are the applications. You can note it down. Those who are doing the research in this field, the EC2, even the Amazon EC2, even the Google App Engine, even Azure. These all are the very much useful softwares for the cloud computing if you are doing the research on it. Now, when the utility of computing preferable to running the private cloud? Obviously, if I'm doing my research work, I'm obviously developing my private cloud. I'm not doing any research on the public cloud, right? Because that is not in the consideration. If I'm using my private cloud, then and then it is considered as my research. Okay. So the first case is when demand for a service is by the varies with time. Even for the peak load, it must sustain a few days per month, leads to underutilized at other times. Instead, cloud computing lets an organizations pay by an hour and computing resources. Many of the private cloud. So for example, I'm simply giving you example, non-technical example. If I have a function at my home, but my home is very small, it is not able to, I'm not able to manage all 500 peoples in my home. So what I need to do, I need to purchase one extra space. So I need to book one hall. That hall is able, the capacity of that hall is the 500 people. Now that space is there for the 500 people. For that extra spaces, I need to pay some amount to them. Same like if I have that bunch of data, instead of guest, what I have the data, but I have not any space to store the data. What I need to do, I need to pay, I need to purchase the extra spaces from the clouds. So they're charging by hour, pay per hour, right? So by hour, we need to pay some amount. The second case is when the demand is unknown in the advance. For example, web startups will need to support a spike in demand when it becomes a popular, followed potentially by the reductions when some of the visitors turn away. The finally organizations perform the batch analytics can use the cost associatively for cloud to finish the computational faster. Using 1000 EC2 machines for 1 hour cost same as using the one machine for 1000 hours. The nowadays the researchers are using the EC2 machines to EC2 machine to provide the cloud computing to computing to provide the utility computing in the specifically for the private cloud. Now those who are on demand with the varieties of time, how the cost is calculated. The first case is the web business is varying in demand over time. So the revenue proportional for users per hour trade-off is captured with the equation below. This is the equation. User hours cloud revenue minus cost called, it is greater than equal to house hour data center revenue minus data center cost of the data center divided by the utilizations. Whatever the cost that here I'm getting, that the users needs to pay for the cloud, for the using the cloud computing services. The left hand side multiplies the revenue per users hour by the number of users hour, right? The right hand side performs the same calculation for the fixed capacity of data center. To under the factor, what are the factors are included in the right side equations? Utilizations, even the non peak workload even of the data center. So whichever the side is greater represent the opportunity of the higher profit, right? So whichever the side is the either it's a left side is the greater one, either it's a right side is the greater one. Whichever side is the large, or whichever side is the big, that is your higher profit in the cloud. The cloud computing will grow nowadays. All levels of computing that should be aimed at the horizontal scalability for the same virtual machine. See, dear participants, I have already told you what is a virtual machine. Virtual machine is basically used to provide the services. It's provide the another computer to work the data online, right? Over the efficiency on a single VM. So VM that means virtual machine. Single that means one virtual machine. Application software needs both the scale down rapidly as well as the scale up. If I want to develop any web applications, or if I want to develop any applications, for the same, there are some softwares that I need to use, right? And for the same, you needs to for the pay for use licensing model to match the needs of cloud computing. There is some infrastructure out there that is called as the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. So infrastructure software needs, this is mentioned. Infrastructure software needs to be aware, no longer running on the bare metal, but on the VMs. Nowadays, the physical machines are not available, but the virtual machines are available. Virtual machines via which concept? Cloud computing concept. The hardware system should be designed at scale of the container, which will be a minimum purchasable size. The cost of the operation will be matched to perform and the cost of the purchase in the importance. Even the memory, even the disk, it is having which very low power, but it is very high cost. So nowadays the hardware, it is not mostly used, but nowadays the hardware, it is also converted into software via the cloud computing. The advantage of software as a service, what are the advantages are there? The software as a service provider, it's enjoy a greatly simplified software installations and the maintenance and centralized control over versioning. User versioning, that means what? We need to maintain the version. So for example, here I'm using any of the WhatsApp applications, right? After some time, what happened? After some time, they are providing some upgradations to me. The new version that is uploaded, the new version that is there in the market, right? So version maintaining, that is also done by the software as a service. The best example is the Play Store, Google Play Store, Android Play Store, iOS Play Store. These all are the example of the software as a service. Google Map, that is also one example. And users can access via the services anytime, anywhere. If I'm using the cloud computing, anytime, anywhere, I can use my data. But the internet connectivity is mandatory. Share data, collaboration more easily, keep that data stored safely in the infrastructure. And the cloud, it always as a secure one, right? Whoever the providing the cloud computing, whoever the providing the data center, the Amazon, even the EC2, even the Google Cloud, these all are the secure provider, right? They are having such a security. Whatever the data is there in the database, that is in the encrypted form. Encrypted form, that means that is no one understand. It is not understand by someone else, right? So anytime, anywhere, you can use such a kind of services. The cloud computing does not change this argument, but it does give more applications provided choice for deploying the product as a SaaS, scaling on demand, and without building and provisioning a data center. If you want to grow with your applications, with your web-based applications, with your software, you can take the advantage of the software as a service, SaaS of cloud computing. What are the successful examples are there? The Elastic Compute Cloud, that is the EC2 from Amazon Web Services. That is also one example. Amazon Scalable Storage Services. Amazon's BET is that by statistically multiplexing multiple instances onto a single physical box. Even the necessary, the very large data centers such as the Amazon, eBay, Google, Microsoft, right? They are investing nowadays the cloud, but also in the large scale software infrastructure, such as MapReduce, the Google file system, even the Big Table, even the Dynamo. These all are the examples, these all are the applications, dear participants, They are providing the large software in the cloud computing, the operational expertise required to run them, right? So these all are the successful examples of software as a service. What are the factors that influencing the companies to become a cloud computing provider? Make a lot of money. This is the one influencing of companies to become a cloud computing provider. As a cloud computing provider, to make a lot of money, although the 10 centers per server hour seems low, very large data center, 10 thousands of computer can purchase hardware, network bandwidth, right? So for example, if you want to develop the data center, so for the same, what you need to do, you need to purchase the hardware, you purchase the cable, you purchase the network bandwidth, even the 10 thousands of computer. But if the same is providing the cloud computing, the same services provided via the cloud computing with the fixed cost of software development, even the deployment, it's many more machines. With the many more machines, the sufficiently large companies could leverage this economic of scale to offer a service well below cost of a medium-sized company, still make a steady profit. Okay, so that is the one influence. The second influence is leverage of existing investment. Adding a cloud computing services on a top of the existing infrastructure provide the new revenue stream at low incremental cost. That is also one kind of uh, money making startups. If you want to go with the startups, you can develop one data center. You can provide the data centers to the users, right? The next is define a franchises. As conventional server, enterprise applications embrace the cloud computing vendor, we can establish the franchising. You can also take the franchises from the Microsoft Azure, even the Google, even it's also provide the immediate path of migrating existing customers of Microsoft enterprise application to the cloud environment, right? So you can also do the same, defend with the franchises. Take an incumbent, a company with the requisite data centers resources might want to establish the beachhead in this space before the single 800-pound gorilla emerges. Example, Google App Engine provide the alternative part to the cloud deployment. Well, appeal lies in the automations of many of the scalability and the load balancing. If someone is attacking on your cloud, the cloud computing is also transferring your data from one platform to another platform. So it's a kind of automation it is there in the cloud computing. Leverage customers' relationships, become a platform. What are the some locals for the cloud computing? Several cloud computing data centers are being built to surprising locations, such as the Quincy, even Washington, the Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo's are there. Even the San Antonio, Texas, the Microsoft, even the US National Security Agencies. These all are the locations of the cloud computing. Such as these all are the cloud computing provider. Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, even US National Security Agency, right? Even the Amazon that is also providing the cloud computing. Microsoft Azure that is also providing the cloud computing. What are the factors of influencing companies become a cloud computing provider? So the network is $95 per mbit for megabit. The storage is $2.220 per gigabyte. The administrator is 140 servers, 140 server administrator. The ratio is 7.1. The storage ratio is 5.1, 5.7, and the network ratio is 7.1, right? So directly, indirectly, the companies are going with the profits in the cloud computing. The new technology trends and the business models are nowadays also emerge with the cloud computing. The image of Web 2.0 is to shift the high touch and high margin, high commitment to provisioning of the service with the low touch, low margin, and low commitment with the self services. The Amazon Web Services that is also capitalized inside in the year 2006 by providing the pay as you go computing with no contract. Even all customer needs is a credit card. The second innovation was selling the hardware level virtual machine cycles. The hardware level virtual machine that is also given by the Amazon Web in the year 2006. They allowing customer to choose their own software stack without disparaging each other while sharing the same hardware, thereby lowering the cost further. Right? So that is also one a new technology in the business model. Even if you want to grow with your business, then you can use the cloud computing for the advertisement purpose as well. Even the SEO, search engine optimization, even the search engine marketing, that is also merged with the cloud computing nowadays. So for example, if you go with the Instagram reels, right? So for example, if you are seeing one reel of uh,
इन्फॉर्मेशन देनी है कि आप यूपीएस हो रहा है उसकी कोई पता नहीं है यूपीएस ये नहीं हो रहा है वो बोलेंगे
yes.
पहले
So here I'm asking about the some automation that is there in the cloud. The automation is, for example, in the Instagram reel, if you are seeing the reels of Instagram, and when you go with the reels of, so for example, the dancing, right? So now they are suggesting the data from the data centers. Those reels are related to the dance, and they are displaying on your screen. So what is it? That is the one kind of automation techniques that is done in the cloud computing. Cloud, why now? Not then. New applications opportunity, mobile interactive applications. See, this is the research topics of cloud computing. Mobile interactive applications. If you want to develop the mobile interactive applications, then you can use the cloud computing. Such a services to be attracted to the cloud, not only because they must be highly available, but also because these services generally rely on the large data. Even this is especially this case for the services that combine two or more data sources or other services. Example, mashups. Even for the parallel data processing, that is also cloud computing. The cloud computing represents the unique opportunity for the batch processing system. If you have the bunch of data and if you want some analytics of the data, you need to analyze some data, right? Using that parallel data processing techniques of the cloud computing, you can do it. Even the programming abstractions such as the Google Map reduce the open source counterpart Hadoop allow programmers to express such tasks while hiding the operational complexity of proofing parallel execution across the hundreds of cloud computing servers. So the parallel data processing, that is also one of the research topics of cloud. Rise in analytic extension of the compute in intensive desktop based applications. So for example, the 3D animations and the offline image rendering on offline image processing kind of application. That is also one example of the cloud computing. The applications are not such a good candidates for the cloud, but the earthbound app. So for example, the environment kind of app. So for example, using the cloud computing services, I can able to see what is the current temperature of Canada, Toronto. What is the current temperature of the Australia, right? So that is also done by the cloud computing. That is also done by the cloud computing. The classes of utility computing, the Amazon EC2. Amazon EC2, that is a one that is providing the hardware virtually, but it's look physically. Even that is also providing the virtual CPU to work. The Microsoft Azure, that is also one a cloud. It's provided by the Microsoft Azure. Google App Engine. Even the model bit that other cloud computing spaces. Cloud computing model, EC2, that is one model, Microsoft Azure, that is one model, and App Engine. Storage, that is also providing the storage facilities, Google App Engine, Microsoft Azure, and Amazon EC2. That is also providing the network, the Amazon EC2, Microsoft Azure, and Google App Engine. The elasticity shifting with the risk. The cloud computing that is providing the elasticity. But the real world estimates of the survey utilizations in the data centers range from the 5 to 20%. The user's provision for the peak and allow the user resources to remain idle, not peak time, but more pronounced with the variations with the more the best. So you can use based on the hour. That's why they are providing with the concept of hour, because sometimes we can purchase for the 1 year, but the cost of the 1 year is more compared to we can use pay per hour, right? So that is the one risk in the elasticity. So why should I move to the cloud? Comparing the cost, it more economical to move the existing data center hosted services to the cloud, or it keep it in the data center. So when I go with the WAN bandwidth, when I go with the CPU hours, when I go with the disk storage, in the item in the year 2003, that is 1 Mbps WAN link, 2 gigahertz CPU, and 2 GB DRM, even the 200 GB disk and 50 MB transfer rate. The cost in the 2003, that is again $100, $2000, and $200. $1 buy in 2003, 1 GB, 8 CPU, and 1 GB. Item in the year 2003, the same one. Instead of 1 Mbps, here that is 100 Mbps. 2 gigahertz, 2 sockets, core sockets, even the 4 GB. But in the 2003, only the 2 GBs are there. See the cost, $3,600, $1,000, and $100. In the low cost, they are providing the good services in the year 2008. But in the year 2003, the high cost, even the services is low. So nowadays, with the year and year go ahead, right? They are providing the good services with the low cost. Pay separately for resources, right? You cannot pay the entire amount. You cannot pay for the entire infrastructure. Whatever the resources you want, you can separately pay the amount for the per resources. Power cooling and physical plant cost, operational cost. What are the cost is there in the cloud computing? So these are the cost that they are calculating: operational cost, power cost, and resources cost. Now, what are the obstacles and opportunity for the cloud computing? Availability of the services. Organizations are worried about whether the utility computing services will have the adequate availability. That way of computing is ironically existing a software as a service product. Even they have the set high standard in regard. So for example, services and the outage with the durations of 2 hours, the S3 outage with the single bit error with the duration of 6 and 8 hours, app engine partial outage programming error, Gmail site and unavailable due to the out of the in the contact system, duration is 1.5 hours. On this date, this kind of services is not provided by the cloud computing. So these are some obstacles are there. Okay, you can do research on it. Only the plausible solutions with very high availability with the multiple cloud computing provider. Availability of the services. Nowadays, the cloud computing is able to transfer, right? They are able to transfer the data if the one cloud computing is not accessible, or it's having some faults, right? So I can easily transfer the one data from one cloud to another cloud. So that is also one automation is providing by the cloud computing. Data lock-in, that means they are providing the security with the API services. Data confidentiality and auditability. Confidential, each and every data are there in the confidential manner, right? Whatever the data, I have already told you that each and every data is there in the encrypted data form, right? So whatever the data is there, if I'm using my data, it is there in the encrypted form. But if the cloud computing is storing my data, then all the data are there in the encrypted form. Data transfer bottlenecks. Data transfer, I have already told you. Data transfer, that means if the cloud computing having some problem, I can easily transfer my data from one cloud to another cloud. Performance unpredictability. This is the histogram of the sequential disk write performance. In that, there are total 55% of total count of rate Mbps data that is transferring. Scalable storage, right? I can easily scale my storage capacity. If I want to store the more data, I can easily scale and stretch my data centers. Bugs in the large scale and distributed system and scaling very quickly. Reputations of fat sharing and software licensing. So for example, the SAP, that is one software, right? SAP, that is one software, and that software is used to provide you to need to manage this software is used to manage the data. Okay, the SAP software. It is mostly used by the Reliance company and the SR company. Those who are the multinational companies, they are using such a kind of SAP software to manage, to maintain the data and to manage the data. So such a kind of software license version that is also provided by the cloud computing. So you no need to purchase that license version, right? Cloud computing automatically providing such a kind of SAP versions to you. Now, what are the implications for the cloud for tomorrow? The first one is the long demand vision of computing as a utility is the final emerging. Even from the cloud provider's view, the constructions of the very large data centers with the low cost, using the commodity computing storage. For the cloud users view, the straddling, even the new software startup built its own data centers. The developer would be wise with the designing and next generations of the systems. When it is asked by the identity of the top benefits of deploying applications in the public cloud, it is the most cited by the developer, right? So this is the implications of the tomorrow. I have one more PPT to brief you about the what are the different opportunities are there in the cloud that here I am sharing to you people. Sorry. What are the golden era in the computing? Hope this PPT is visible at your side, if I'm not wrong. Can
Yes, sir,
anyone
it
let
is
me?
visible. Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So this is the golden era in the computing. In that golden era, powerful multi-core processor that is also providing the general purpose graphic processor that is also providing by the cloud computing. Even the superior software methodology, virtualizations of leveraging of the powerful hardware, wider bandwidth for communication, even the uh, proliferation of devices that is also provided by the cloud computing. Even the domain type of application that is also provided by the cloud computing. So this is the some golden era that provided by the computing. What are the evaluations in the internet computing? First, it is published with the data marketplace in the deep web, the social media and networking, automating, discover, transact, integrate, interact, inform, and publish. Right? So first of all, each and every data, it is there on the web with the network, with the data marketplace, either with the social media, either with the networking. That is done with the web, and it is always a scaling mode. So nowadays, the data marketplace and for the analytics, the cloud computing, it is mostly used. That's why it is there in the highest. That is one graph. The top 10 largest database, it is most already all the researchers are doing the climate. So the ratio is very high. CIA, Amazon, YouTube, Choice PT, Sprint, Google, AT&T, NERSC, and the climate. That is also one database. That database is provided top 10 largest database. What are the challenges? The alignments with the needs of business user, non-computer specialist, even the needs to address the scalability issues with the ever-shortening cycle of the obsolescence, even the heterogeneity, even the rapid changes in the requirement. These all are the challenges in the cloud computing, and it is very cost effective. Cloud computing, that is the internet-based computing. I have already explained it. That cloud computing without the internet, I can't work on the cloud computing. That is on-demand services that is provided by the cloud computing. That is also providing the grid computing. Grid computing, that means whatever the data is there, that is divided in the chunk. That chunk, it is called as one slot. That is the, if I combine all the chunk, that is called as the grid. So this grid technology, it's slide from my the grid technology. It's emerging enabling technology, the natural evaluation of distributed system and the internet. Even it is also publicized with the prominent industries, on-demand computing, utility computing, etc. These all are the grid technology, utility computing, on-demand technology. It is a changed world now. Cloud computing is now changed their world, right? How it is possible? So for example, if I want to work on the C and C++, even on the Python, right? Nowadays, online compiler that is also available. The extraordinary rate for the digital content consumption, nowadays the digital locker is also there to give to save all the digital documents. Even if I want to execute any of the programs in the C or C++ or in the Java or in the Python, online compilers are also available, right? So how it is possible? Using the cloud, it is possible. Then the answer is what? Answer is the cloud, right? The cloud is providing what kind of platforms? What kind of models? Platform, software, infrastructure, even the program interface, API. What is the full form of API? API full form is the applications programming interface. They are providing different models, platform, PaaS, software as a service, then the infrastructure as a service, and the APIs. So that is the enabling technologies. Now here, what is it? Cloud applications, intensive, compute intensive, and storage intensive. It is there in the cloud. We all are using the data from the cloud. The cloud that is coming with the web services, SOA. Here, virtual machine 0, virtual machine 1, and virtual machine, and number of virtual machines. The virtualizations are given a multi-core architecture with the 64-bit processor. And they're also providing the storage capacity, big table, bold, blob store, even the models S3. These all are the storage facility provided by the cloud computing. Using that storage facility, I can easily store my all data. What are the common features of the cloud provider? They are providing the development environment, IDE, SDK, software development toolkit, right? In the production environment, that is also providing the simple storage keyframes, okay, to fetch the data, to store the data in the database. Even they are also providing the management console and monitoring tool for the multi-level security. The online kind of software that is also provided by the cloud. The example is the Windows Azure. Windows Azure, that is also one on-demand capacity builder, that is one enterprise level, and that is also providing the cloud in the API form to store the data. Amazon EC2, that is also one a cloud. See, these all are the platform that here I am explaining. Why? Because that is very much useful in your research work. Okay, the Amazon EC2, that is also one a large complex web service. The EC2 that is provided, and the API to installing with the computing instances with an operating system supported. Even the signature features S3 cloud management console, excellent distribution, that is also done by the Amazon EC2. Google App Engine, that is also one a cloud computing. Using that, Google offers the some reliability, availability, and scalability. The interface is a software programming based, and signature features, that is also done by the, what are the signature features? Template and as excellent monitoring and management console type of application software that is provided by the Google App Engine. What are the demos are there? EC2, Linux machine, Google App Engine. You can take the screenshot of these slides if you want some demos, right? The Amazon EC2 also providing the Linux machine, even the Windows machine, and three-tier enterprise applications. The Google App Engine providing the Eclipse plugs with the GAE, development and deployment of applications, and Azure providing the storage facility and Visual Studio for the .NET framework. For the programming models, they are also providing in the context of big data. Big data, it is also one concept of cloud computing. If I want to store the big data, the large amount of data, right, for the healthcare type of data. So, for example, in the COVID-19 platform, the government of India is giving some Setu application, right, for the COVID-19. So that's a kind of healthcare type of applications having the bunch of data. So how can I manage? Through the cloud computing, I can manage. Google file system, that is also provided to maintaining the files with the versioning. The Hadoop, that is also one database. The Hadoop database, that is used to store the data. The failure in the norms rather than the exception. The HDFS, that is the instance, may consist of the thousands of server of machines. Even the detections of the fault and quicks, that is automatic recover by the cloud computing. That is the HDFS structure. HDFS, that is one cloud computing provider. This is very automation type of cloud. The client is there. Client can easily write the data in the applications. The rack 1 and rack 2. In the rack 2, the data nodes are there. Even here, that is the second data nodes. From that, I can easily read the data from the by the client. The client is always it's always prefer the metadata. Okay, that metadata is also stored in the one particular database. That metadata is the name, even who developed the files, even when it is developed the files, on which time, by which user, each and every data that is getting by the HDFS architecture of the cloud computing. Hadoop distributed file system. It is distributed, it is there in the distributed environment. These all are database and distributed in the some partitions. That is our master nodes. Master node are divided into three parts. That is the HDFS server, and whatever the application is there, that applications that is done with the local file system, and they are fetching from the master node. What is the map reduce? The map reduce, that is one programming model of Google has used successfully processing of big data. The map functions of extract some intelligence of raw data, reduce the functions of aggregate according to the some guides. Even using that map reduce, we can easily handle the machine failure. Even that is also providing the efficient communications. So that is the map reduce. They are reducing. See, using that you can easily see how it is possible. They all are reducing the chunks, and they were divided into different uh, counts. large scale data that is splitting into the different counts. We have the three bunch of data that is displayed in the green color, blue color, and the light blue color. So now they are bifurcating, they are segregating all the data into the different chunks. That is done with the this type of cloud computing. Map reproducible. On which slide it is? Map reduce engine. That is done. Whatever the work is there, that work that will be done by the map reduce engine. What is the case studies? The case studies is there. What are the problems? The problem is identify the spatial causes with the outcome with the quality related parameters, even some potential saving, that huge cost of network. If I want to develop the cloud computing, that is very costly actually. If I want to develop in my personal level, the solution is use the some technology, develop the rich internet applications, and evaluate process for the outcomes. Why cloud computing for the project? Very good, because the cloud project having this such a kind of large bunch of data, and to storing the large bunch of data, the cloud computing is more preferable. The public and the private cloud. The public cloud that is there, there on public. So, for example, the Play Store. In that from that Play Store, anyone can use, and private cloud that is used by the organizations. Cloud computing also there for the enterprise. What should it do? It cost model for the utility based computing CPU per hours, whatever the GB that per day. Even the includes the hidden cost of the management training, right? Suppose example enterprise, the Airtel enterprise. So, for example, if I want to store, if I want to provide some data connectivity to my mobile phone, right? So for the same, what I need to do, I need to purchase some package, data package, right? The same like you can also providing such a kind of enterprise is also providing the such a kind of package facility, the menu to the user, whichever that they are preferable, they can purchase it, the plan. And these all are the references, useful links for the Amazon and AWS, the cost calculator, Windows Azure, App Engine, Graph Analytics, and miscellaneous informations. These all are the references. So that is all from my side. So hope this session is useful for you all. Yeah,
Okay,
for the
that's
Yes, sir,
mathematical,
definitely.
for the mathematical part, you can use the this link that here I'm sharing with you in the chat box. It is a cost calculator. Based on the some parameters, they are calculating the cost. This is having the each and every parameters of cloud computing, right? So you can using that link, you can calculate the cost. That is a part of the mathematical. So hope this session is useful, and I hope this uh, you can at least get some knowledge about the cloud computing today.
Yes, sir, definitely. It was so wonderful to have you as a speaker today, sir. Thank you so much for imparting such commendable knowledge on cloud computing. We feel very enlightened about the topic cloud computing, and we have got to know about the future aspects and which will help us very much. Thank you so much for this vast knowledge. And with this, we come to the end of our day two of this national workshop. And I would like to thank Dr. Atul sir and our HOD and Dr. Abhishek Mehta, who was so brilliant in spreading his knowledge and making us understand everything so in such a simple way. And that was all. Thank you to the audience, which was so patient. And this workshop. This day of workshop is ended. We the please attend the quiz and the feedback form, which will from which we will mark the attendance. And yes, summing up, this was a thank you, Dr. Abhishek Mehta again. It well, thank you so much.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Okay. So I request all the participants to fill the feedback form, and also the quiz is also as important as feedback. Okay. So feedback as well as quiz is equally important. So you need to fill the feedback form as well as you need to attempt the quiz because it is required for the 5 day workshop. So we want to learn how much you learn from this valuable workshop. Thank you, Dr. Abhishek, for this wonderful topic, cloud computing. I hope the student and the participant has really enjoyed this session.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so
with
much.
this, okay. So thank you, sir. I'd like to
Yeah.
end this session, okay, officially. Now,
Okay, sir. Thank
someone was asking about, sir, the PPTs. If it is PPTs available for them,
Yeah.
then it
We
will be
will
good.
share, sir. I will share. I will share, sir.
Okay, sir. Then I will share with the participants as well.
Yeah. Sure. Sure, sir.
Okay. And this is recorded section. This
Okay.
recorded section will be also uploaded on the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
our department YouTube channel. So that link also will be shared with you all. Okay. In the future, if anyone like to see it. Okay. So if it is your permission, sir, then only we will upload.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure, sir. You can upload. I haven't any
Okay.
problem, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So see
Thank
you
you.
in the future, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure, sir.